Have a brand? Do you want to get it in front of millions of people instantly? Well, email me right now, ogod@hiphopun.com. That's ogod@hiphopun.com. Your brand could be right before each video that we publish. Hit me right now. Do not
Let's
wait.
jump into I'll give you the rundown, then we'll jump into our first topic. Jemele Hill said something about Offset doing an interview with the young lady. Well, she ain't young really. She's just like 35 years old. I think what's her name? What's her last name? Bobby what?
I don't know. I forgot already.
Boucher. Nah, but we're gonna talk about that, man. And that conversation pretty much centered around, the outlets people are choosing to go to. So I can't wait to get into that. And we'll probably start with that one because I think that's powerful. I got some thoughts. I know you got some great thoughts. Hey, yo, share the video if you're watching this on YouTube. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. I'm telling you in advance, we got the hottest content on YouTube. But go ahead.
I don't know if you've seen it. Obviously, by now you've seen it, and it's been going around if you're on social media of Offset doing an interview with a woman by the name of Bobbi something. I forgot her name. Bobbi Althoff or something like that, right? And no need to be disrespectful, but it's a deeper conversation to be had.
Yeah.
Deeper than who he did the interview with. But it was an interview. She's an off-base type interviewer. She likes to really kind of give bland answers as if she doesn't give a fuck about who she's talking to and stuff like that. It's dry comedy, dry humor type stuff.
Yeah.
And seen a lot of hip hop and a lot of people within the culture go on and patronize this woman's platform, right? So Offset was on there just recently. There was clips going out, and Jemele Hill, formerly ESPN, she's a journalist out of Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely not somebody we always agree with, but when she says some real shit, we're going to highlight it. She says some real shit in our opinion. I'm going to read it, oh God, and get your thoughts. She said, I don't find these type of interviews particularly enjoyable or interesting. Instead, it just sadly points out how real hip-hop journalism has been practically erased. Some of the media teams behind these artists aren't interested in them sitting down with credible people who know how to tell stories and do quality interviews. Then they wonder why an artist's real story goes untold, neglected, or that artist is misunderstood. Oh God, we've experienced this over the last few years. We've experienced this since we started this shit. We understand where she's coming from. But I wanted to get your thoughts on what I just read and your thoughts on the interview and Jemele Hill's take on it.
Yeah, first of all, like you said, it's the initial interview, the clips that are going on right now. It's more of a, like I say, dry type of a humor, satire type of thing, where it's kind of get you to laugh. But at the end of the day, it's humiliation. You know what I mean? For an artist as prominent as some of the artists, in my opinion, that's going on there. Somebody like an Offset or Jason Derulo, she's acting like she don't know you and whatnot. But I want to really focus more so on how she talked about real hip hop journalism, because we have, been in this game doing real hip hop journalism for the last 6 years, going on 7. And during that time period, we dealt with athletes, actors, politicians, rappers, anybody that you can name. And we always, focused on doing quality interviews, focused on letting them, tell their story without us adding any bullshit in it. We ask them the questions, but they go in and they pretty much give their story. So, the hip hop journalism part you see now, and I see a lot of these artists and their teams, they don't really want to deal with a grassroots, real hip hop media. Now it's more so about the microwave shit. Let's go to this person or to this person that's going to get us the clicks for one day and the views for one day, but there's really no substance in that particular interview. And, in that particular interview, it was no substance. It's going to get clicks. It's going to be all over every site, but Offset's not talking about things that's going on in his life. He's not talking about, what happened recently, maybe, the Migos and things like that, or, how's he really feeling right now about the death of Takeoff. This is stuff people want to hear. How's your marriage with Cardi B? How's it, being, how do you guys manage your time? And, do you guys ever, how's it when you guys come into a creative space together? Like all this type of stuff that people want to hear that you're never going to get on those microwave platforms. Yeah, you'll get millions of views, but unfortunately, I think it's came down, to them wanting to be with the more popular people as opposed to the more realist and the most relevant people, in my opinion. But that's yeah. That's
Yeah. I think it started kind of happening a couple years ago because one thing we do know is a lot of these artists directly don't get a yes or no on who's interviewing. Like they're not. What I mean by that is they're not dealing with people directly when it comes to interviews. Their people are scheduling them to be there at a specific time. The business is primarily being done with somebody's people, their management, at some type of somebody's situation like that handles their interviews, and they go on and they do their thing. So it's the management, it's these agencies that go out and seek out these different varieties of platforms and things like that, and put their artists on. Around COVID and around that time where everybody was sitting down, you seen a real concerted effort in a lot of these management teams to find these platforms that were giving good substance, that were giving good numbers and good substance, independent or multimedia based, whatever the case may be. Whoever was giving good content, and we've seen a different variety of things, a different variety of content. Soon as people started really getting real and started getting authentic and started kind of changing the mindset of what we see in the what's the word I'm fucking looking for? Not the mainstream media. There it is.
Yeah.
Once you start looking at what's the mainstream media, they're like, nah, we got to cut this shit. In my opinion, I feel like they knew that they had to now make a concerted effort to cut some of the real quality content that was starting to happen and occur within their artists. So now we see some of these artists going on the bullshit. We see them doing interviews with Bobbi, and no disrespect to her. If that's her style, that's her style. But how you in the culture doing this stuff and talking to an Offset, and maybe Offset don't want to talk about the situation with Takeoff. You see him doing lighthearted shit, funny shit. So okay, maybe that's his way of healing, and he deserves to heal however he wants to heal. But it's deeper than her because it's happening in more platforms than her. You see these artists going on all kind of different things, and we know it's a pay-to-play type way to go in this day and age as well. We know it's just not the people and the management pointing and pride. And it's okay, 10 racks for the interview. There you go. All right, fuck it, I'm coming on. I don't care what your background is. I don't care if you even attempted. Now, I'm not saying you had to go to college to be a journalist, but actually took the shit serious. Do your research on the people you're interviewing. Take it actually serious. Had a professional fortitude to make sure you conduct the interview in a professional way. Take journalism serious if you're not going to go to school for it. You know what I'm saying? And many of independent people have done so and deserve to have that credit for it. But it's the bullshit it's deeper than... I think they're trying to cut certain things out, and I think that the real people know why.
Yeah, and it's like, a lot of times, like you said about dealing with the representatives, the decision don't even come down to the artist sometimes. It comes down to that representative, whether they like you or whether they feel like it's a good platform, that you should be on. And they're killing it, man. They're killing the industry because it's becoming too of the mainstream. It used to be a time where, they would do the mainstream, a few mainstream, the ones that like prerequisite. You got to do the Breakfast Club, you got to do the Hot 97s and different things like that.
Yeah.
But they'll come down and touch the people underneath that, the people that, I like to say grassroots, that started, that didn't have no handout, that didn't start at a radio station, not like that, but people that really got it, camera in the backyard, lawn chair, came up through this thing. You know what I mean? But with that being said, we have done like over 400 interviews. And we interview damn near everybody and just anybody in the rap game, actors, anything that you could say. We interviewed a lot of people, so it's not like we complaining, but we have definitely seen the shift, and we're starting to see now that it's more so now a pay-to-play more than just going to real relevant, independent, journalists who's going to put your story out. Another thing Jemele said, the right way, and you be perceived the right way. When you go to some of these smaller platforms, they're going to get that one little clip and put that shit on Instagram. And people are going to perceive that that's what the whole thing was about. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it ain't going to change. Still going to be a pay-to-play type way. And I'm curious to see where it's going to go as far as, because there was a time where, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it back in the day, it was almost like we needed that big broadcast to give us that interview. We waited for who was going to be next on the Breakfast Club.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To hear somebody's story and to see it done a different way, or Angie Martinez or Sway, who was going to get that next interview and do it in a professional way. But now, I mean, if the artists ain't trying to do it themselves and water themselves down to the point where nobody gives a shit about them anymore, or you see stuff like this, or it's okay, we just going to put a price tag on me telling you the same shit I done told everybody else. And if you don't give me that, then I ain't patronizing your platform. I'm not coming on here. It's no more win-win situations in this game. It's no more, okay, You tell my story, but you did it in a narrative that's respectful to all of us, and we all win. It's starting to kind of die down, and it's scary to see because it
Yeah.
was needed. It was an important part of the culture. When we talked
Yep.
about the culture yesterday, and where it was going, this is a part of it, and it's sad to see where it's going, man.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying there's nothing necessarily wrong with paying for interviews,
Me
right? Sometimes, like, you got to bite the bullet and do it. We've done it, on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of our interview was one hand wash the other. That was the beauty of it. The artists, they have a following. The actor, they have a following. And they understand that, okay, when I go deal with this platform, that they're going to treat me a certain way, represent me a certain way. You know what I mean? And they was going to put me in front of a lot of people and put me in a positive light more than anything. Now it's not about that. Now it's just about shit. Just get the bag and go on any platform. And ultimately, that's going to, all we got to do is just stick around and do what we do. Because a lot of people are going to fall by the wayside. And a lot of these people, you ain't going to be a celebrity and star forever. And you're not going to be able to. Just like you guys, when you're hot, you maybe could charge $50,000 a show. Now you can't get $1,500 for a show. So eventually you'll fall. And we'll holler back at you, on a come around.